The story unfolds with a massive island explosion, introducing Jingi and Yukito, two courageous youngsters. Yukito, who has also lost his childhood memories, receives a letter promising a peaceful high school life on Ayaka Islands, sparking questions about his past and guardian Ino. His amnesia is further complicated by his uncontrollable powers. Alongside Jingi, Yukito embarks on a quest to unravel his destiny. They encounter intriguing characters like Aka, who has a unique approach to dealing with Mitama, and the spirited students Chataro and Yako. As Yukito's power grows, he forms bonds of friendship and faces Ara Mitama, mysterious entities born of ley energy. Through a blend of action, magic, and self-discovery, the story unfolds in the mesmerizing world of adventure and camaraderie. The anime begins with a heart-pounding explosion, a fiery maelstrom consuming the island. Amidst the raging inferno, two fearless souls emerge. Jingi, with his vibrant green hair, races through the chaos to safeguard Yukito's life as they urgently navigate toward a lifeline, the ferry. In the midst of pandemonium, an elderly person emerges, his soothing presence quelling the collective panic. As he confirms the imminent arrival of more ferries, a flicker of hope kindles within him as he spots Jingi, and he anxiously inquires about the whereabouts of Momoko. She, a beacon of leadership, is commanding the evacuation, and her instructions are crystal clear, prioritizing the ferry. Amidst this turmoil, Jingi can't help but worry about Haruaki and Aka. Yet, the reassuring words of the old person affirm that Master Yanagi is on a daring mission to retrieve them from the abyss of danger. Speaking of Master Yanagi, he exudes a sense of coolness, and he leisurely smokes his pipe. He's a hero who saved everyone during this disaster. He is a heroic lay master dedicated to preserving harmony on the Ayaka Islands. With a hint of resignation, he declares, "Ha, you have got no patience. Guess it's time for one last gig." A colossal fire dragon emerges from the lava, setting the stage for a final showdown. Meanwhile, Haruaki is seen carrying Aka to safety. Both of them look badly injured. The narrative then shifts in time with Yukito nearing the end of middle school. He receives a letter from Ino Sanji, a friend of his late father, promising to pick him up after graduation and provide a peaceful high school life on the Ayaka Islands. However, the twist lies in Yukito's amnesia about his own childhood, leaving him questioning why he was placed in foster care when Ino was supposedly his guardian. Yukito often has a recurring dream of being in the water, which brings him solace. He prefers solitude due to his uncontrollable powers, believing that distancing himself from others is a form of protection. During his school's graduation ceremony, Yukito, without any close friends, reflects on his self-imposed isolation and the guilt he carries for his loneliness. Meanwhile, a young lad named Jingi, who is coincidentally the same Jingi from earlier, is seen indulging in some beers. Yukito's attempt to deny his identity is met with a forceful push into the water by Jingi, triggering an unexpected display of Yukito's uncontrolled powers. Jingi swiftly intervenes, containing Yukito's powers, and carries him away in a bag. Yukito awakens on a mysterious boat, utterly bewildered, and demands an explanation. Jingi claims to be Yukito's older brother and the one tasked with training him. Despite Yukito's memory loss, they share a brotherly bond. As they approach the second Ayaka Island, Yukito is captivated by a train that travels on the sea, known as the marine liner. "Isn't it Ayakastic?" the old man from the boat inquires. The term Ayakastic puzzles him, highlighting his lack of familiarity with island terminology. Upon arriving at the island, Yukito is greeted by Momoko and the mayor, who turns out to be the author of the letter he received. Ino, the letter's supposed sender, is the mayor. A photograph of Yukito and his father sparks curiosity about his biological heritage. It's revealed that Yukito was placed in foster care according to his father's will. During a conversation with Jingi, who seemed more engrossed in his video game, Yukito learns about Mitama and their malevolent counterpart, Ara Mitama, which requires purification. Frustrated by Jingi's apparent lack of interest, Yukito storms out of the house to cool down. A Mitama falls, giving rise to an Ara Mitama, prompting Jingi and Yukito to confront it. Jingi identifies himself as Yukito's father's third student, engages in combat with the creature. However, acknowledging Yukito's potent power, he throws Yukito into the Ara Mitama's body, causing Yukito to unleash his fury. Jingi intervenes with a spell, bringing Yukito's destructive outburst under control. Jingi commits to training Yukito, asking him to address him as master, and they return home safely. An episode begins with Jingi nursing a hangover while Yukito is diligently meditating, attempting to grasp the concept of ley energy. Jingi explains that ley energy is a powerful force originating from deep within the earth, but Yukito's mastery over it is unrefined and unstable. Their practice involves manipulating water and magic, but Jingi playfully bursts Yukito's water bubble with a sneeze, adding some teasing banter. Jingi demonstrates his skills by creating a water dummy that moves autonomously, impressing Yukito. However, Yukito is not in the mood for Jingi's usual showmanship today. Jingi then shares his terrible news. He's run out of beer, eliciting no surprise given his penchant for drinking. He reveals that he owes a considerable debt at the bar, rendering him reluctant to face the bartender. He takes Yukito along to look for a job request to pacify Mitama. Things get interesting when they stumble on two pupils of Haruaki Kurama. They're bickering over a job to pacify a Mitama. But wait, before they can finish, Jingi swoops in and snatches the job right from under them. His reason? To train the son of their teacher's teacher. Talk about a tangled web. It seems as if Jingi was quite a bad impression and reputation everywhere. Just what has he been doing besides drinking all those years that got everybody so pissed off? Yukito is intrigued by the two students and inquires about them, learning their names as Chataro and Yako. Jingi humorously suggests that Yukito should befriend them, given their similar ages. Yukito contemplates the idea of making friends, despite his fear of inadvertently harming them, with his unpredictable powers. This mission leads them to face an Aramitama, a manifestation of Jingi's own mischief, while drunk. The Aramitama takes control and Jingi leaves Yukito behind in his haste to escape. Yukito chases after him, calling his name. Meanwhile, Shataro and Yako promptly inform their sensei, Haruaki Kurama, about Jingi's actions and how he usurped their job. Yukito realizes that the Aramitama was a result of Jingi's carelessness, and he calls out for help as chaos ensues. Haruaki Kurama, the legendary first disciple of Yukito's father, appears and effortlessly pacifies the Aramitama with a magnificent grassy tornado spell. Although Haruaki is thrilled to see Yukito again, Yukito's amnesia leaves him unable to recall their prior connection. Jingi, responsible for the commotion, is tasked with cleaning up the mess, and Shataro and Yako take the opportunity to mock him, highlighting their long-standing grudge. Yukito is on a marine liner, and he's over the moon about it. But Jingi, ever the buzzkill, reminds him that he used to make the same excited face when he was a kid. Too bad Yukito can't remember any of those childhood memories. Jingi casually mentions that Yukito will get tired of these trips soon, but Yukito is just too thrilled at the moment. They are approaching the first island, and Yukito wonders what it's like. Jingi fills him in. There are tons of cool things there, like parlors and casinos. Yeah, it's Jingi's idea for a good time, but then again, who's surprised? It's Jingi we're talking about. An old man strikes up a conversation with Yukito. He reassures Yukito that he'll adjust to life on the island just fine. Jingi, never one to miss an opportunity to be sarcastic, chimes in, saying he's looking after Yukito day and night. Of course, that's the main concern. The old man asks Jingi to show Yukito around, and initially, Jingi's reluctant because he's got some business on the first island. But he caves in and agrees, probably to save face. The two start their tour, and suddenly Jingi vanishes into thin air. Yukito is left to fend for himself, and guess what? He gets himself into trouble. Seriously, is Jingi ever reliable? A street performer's big ball suddenly turns into an Aramitama. Guess what? Aka Ibuki, the second disciple of Yukito's dad, saves the day. Now here's the twist. Aka doesn't believe in pacifying Mitama like Yukito's dad and Jingi do. He believes in eradicating them, and used a gun that shoots special magical bullets. He remembers Yukito from way back when, but doesn't seem bothered that Yukito doesn't remember him. Aka, surprised by Yukito's growth, reminisces about the past and mentions that Yukito doesn't resemble his father. Curious about Aka's use of a gun as a lay master, Yukito learns that the bullets contain spells, a unique approach to dealing with Mitama. Aka takes Yukito to his shop, where Jingi is already indulging himself. Yukito reprimands Jingi for abandoning him earlier and demands an apology. While discussing Aramitama, Aka expresses his belief that Mitama poses a threat to humans, justifying his practice of eradicating them without hesitation. During this heated discussion, an Aramitama appears. Surprise! Turns out the earlier one was just a part of the real deal. They rush to face it, but Jingi throws in a word of caution: don't bring up Haruaki, Yukito's dad's first disciple, around Aka, hinting at their strained relationship. Oh, the drama! The Aramitama appears and Aka takes the lead. He showcases some dark powers and even transforms himself using black magic that defies lay mastery laws. With his corrupted powers, he crushes the Mitama into dust and mutters something cryptic about being stronger than Haruaki and even the dragon. Yukito is left to wonder about Aka's true intentions. This time, their journey takes them to the third island, which appears even less developed than the second. Jingi, true to his character, seizes the opportunity for a nap, while Yukito remains curious and engaged. Yukito asks if Jingi is tired, to which Jingi responds, hilariously reveals that drinking excessively for 2 consecutive nights is his definition of tough work. Jingi doesn't frequent this island often, reserving his visits for specific purposes. He reveals that only Haruaki and his idiot students make regular use of the island. Speaking to those students, Chataro and Yako are already there to welcome Yukito to the third island. They ask if he's settled in yet. Yukito is still wide-eyed with wonder and seems thrilled all the time. Next, they visit the Kasen shrine dedicated to pacifying dragons. The duo explains that there are 2 dragons on the 4th island, and every time one of them goes on a rampage, disaster follows. They recount a childhood memory when a dragon's eruption caused chaos even on the 1st island. It was the fire dragon, and a crater lake is said to have formed after the water dragon pacified it. Yukito tries to jog his memory, but Jingi, in classic fashion, interrupts with a snooze. Chataro and Yako sympathize with Yukito's predicament of having Jingi and his teacher and express their apparent displeasure with him. It's clear they're not the biggest fans of him, especially after his constant negligence. Jingi, true to form, fails to remember their names accurately and even manages to unintentionally dunk all 3 of them into muddy water. Haruaki Kurama arrives on the scene and extends a warm welcome to Yukito. He takes Yukito to his place, offers him candy, and suggests he try the popular orange flavor. Yukito gets to the point and brings up Aka. Haruaki is visibly surprised by the mention of Aka's name. Yukito expresses his concern about Aka's methods. Haruaki takes the opportunity to give Yukito a ley energy lesson. Ley masters use this energy to weave powerful spells, and the islands are filled with it. However, on the mainland, it's less common, found mainly in shrines and historical sites. Haruaki explains that Aka consumes Aramitama to gain strength, which is just like becoming Aramitama himself. This practice goes against ley mastery principles. Later, Chataro and Yako take Yukito to their training ground. They demonstrate their ley energy skills by growing a plant from a seedling, but they end up bickering about who did it better. Yukito then takes his turn, astonishing everyone by drawing an immense amount of power, causing the tree to grow uncontrollably. Jingi intervenes to help Yukito regain control over his powers. The budding friendship between Yukito, Chataro, and Yako begins to take shape, and it seems they are on the path to becoming close friends. What do you think of the story? Let's talk about it in the comments section below. As always, a like, subscribe, and comment will be much appreciated. Well then, with that said, we'll see you guys in our next recap. And make sure you give us a heads up if you want us to do a second part.